It seems that no matter how much that I begin to look at other things, that I am continuously being pulled back to Christ. Because it seems that as we go through, that the information that you're gathering from elsewhere, that you can feel the push and the understanding moving towards Christ, and then you feel an opposition push back. So as that opposition pushes back, it's as though the Father just rises up in me and tells me that I need to keep speaking about Christ. He says, tell them about Christ again. And this overwhelms me because I never have a problem talking about Christ. It's the main focus of what I feel every single day. But as everybody begins to ask questions, I feel your pain and I feel your concerns in other areas where these distractions come about. And so I continuously go back to the Word and I begin to read the Gospels over and over again and continually even remind myself of what Christ said, so I can apply it now to this day, because this is not something that you just read and you know it. Because every single day, every single situation, every single variation of energy, you can go back and find it. And the amazing thing is that it is written in such a way that it applies to that very moment at that very day, and it's just as true as the former truth that you had. So you don't abandon the former truth that it was. You now just have this new truth. So I wanted to express to you something, because there is a lot of opposition right now from others in your life that are putting these distractions and they're trying to force you back to understanding that Christ is somewhere else, that he's over there or he's over there, that he'll be coming this way or he'll be coming that way, or that he's going to look like this and he's going to do this. Well, don't pay attention to what any man tells you. Pay attention to what Christ told you. Ignore what they say. Because it's the words of Christ himself that if you're actually reading them, it will defy everything that everyone is telling you, including all of the pastors and the churches all over the place. And I can read you his words directly. And you have to admire how calm this man truly is. So I would like to try to before I read this, I'd like to try to give you a different thought as to who Christ is. And it may help you begin to understand who he is then and who he is now. Now, if there were a time traveler that wrote this for you and made sure that you had access to the specific words, because he is the time traveler, and that he comes back, and that he makes sure that his messages, that he is literally, let's just pretend that he's the greatest hacker in the world, and that he can hack the enemy's system, because this is a matrix that is data. So let's just assume for one moment that the enemy was able to capture us and capture our souls into these bodies. And in doing so, he has devised a technological system that defies your imagination, that captures your soul. And he builds that soul up for energy that he then gets to consume at the great day of the harvest. So where he harvests the souls that have given way to the negative energy and to the way that he has crafted you. Now, Christ, understanding this, comes into these times to insert this message in to help you abandon the negativity, to abandon the hate, to abandon the anger, to abandon all that would be supplying the energy for the enemy. Because everything is referenced as sheep being led to the slaughter. And all of the ancient documents and all of the ancient understandings, including all of the prophets, even the seers like Nostradamus, as Naughty Beaver and Steve from WSO have also spoke of. Now, the amazing thing is as you begin to listen to the words of Christ, he is articulating the very way that you can escape that slaughter. Because you're not going to be eaten if you don't have any nutrients for the enemy. So, preparing yourself against that he would leave you alone, that he would not consume you, and that you would be able to return for the soul that you are to the Father's house. Now, I'm just giving this to you in this simplified way because I believe that sometimes wrapping your mind around what is going to come sometimes gets so overwhelming that you forget the message. The message is so crystal clear of what Christ is speaking about. It's about preparing, that the Father has told you what you need to do in order to be prepared to return to his side. Or, if you have not prepared yourself, that you should be prepared to be consumed, that you are sheep to the slaughter. So, I wanted to read something to you because the amazing thing is that everyone fails to recognize that as Christ appeared at the resurrection, that he appeared in many different forms. It even speaks of that he appeared in another form, and that they never recognized him when he reappeared. They never recognized him. He was always somebody different. When he was on the shore, Peter and those that were on the boat didn't recognize who it was until his mouth was opened and he began to speak. So it was the words that they recognized. It was the tone. It was the pace at which he spoke. And it was the very phrases at which he spoke that they knew that that was him. So this time traveler that I speak of could manifest himself in many different forms. And the church has misled everybody by helping them understand that, no, he looks like this, and in fact the enemy has painted pictures of him in the way that you see Jesus appearing. Clearly, if he was so recognizable to us now, how come he wasn't so recognizable to the apostles that had walked with him for many years at that point? How come they couldn't recognize him? How come Mary thought he was the gardener? So clearly we're talking about a different size person. He manifests himself within people. So if you think like the Matrix portrays, is that he could take on an image that he felt necessary, that he could take over a soul, he could take over a person and become that person, which is precisely what he's telling you must happen to you. That if you make yourself available to him and you remove the hate and the fear and everything from this world, then he can actually come and take over. So think about this as one of the most magnificent sci-fi adventures of your life. I get excited when I begin to understand it at a different level like that, because it just boggles my mind at how truly amazing he is. Incredible how he wrote the things in such a way that he knew you would be reading them. In fact, I'm going to read to you something right now because I think this is important for you to recognize. In Mark, and this is in Mark 13. Now what he's doing is he's talking about what's going to happen. He said, be on your guard, for they were delivered. But let me back up a bit first. He says, see that no one leads you astray. Many will come in my name, saying that I am he, and they will lead many astray. So first recognize this. He says that many will come in my name, saying that I am he. Hear that. Many will come in my name, saying that I am he. Now, if the reader is not understanding that text, they're going to read it that he says, many will come in my name, and they will stand up and say that I am he. So this can be read in two different ways. That somebody else would stand up and say that they are Christ, but many will come in his name, just like there are today in all the churches, and they will say that he, because that's how he says it in the first person, that I am he. They will say that I am the Christ. Don't believe them. They will say I'm over there or I'm over there. Don't believe them. The reason why he's telling you that is what he continues to say is because it will be as though the Son of Man, the return of the Son of Man will be as though lightning strikes in the east and shines in the west. It will be big. So anybody that wants to deny Christ being within many at the same time, being a body, and they want to label it as the Christ consciousness. I don't care how you label it. His words are pretty clear as to what it looks like. Brands in this world are given the name of a brand, a box, so then they can throw rocks at the box and try to destroy the box. Do not accept a brand. Do not ever accept a brand or a name, because once somebody has granted something to you, then they can destroy it. It's like the right to free speech, that they get you to accept that they've granted you free speech. You've always had free speech. You've always had free speech. You can say whatever you want, wherever you want. You're going to deal with the ramifications of it, but you've never had more free speech. You don't have free speech in this country today without persecution. You can say it, but you're still going to be persecuted, just the level of persecution. You're never going to be free without persecution, because somebody's always going to disagree with what you say, regardless of whether the law says that you have free speech. It's like being granted your rights when you're being arrested, saying you have the right to remain silent. I already have the right to remain silent. Why are you getting me to accept new rights? So be careful what you accept from somebody. Accept the box allows them now to label it, throw rocks at it, and change the image of it, and change the understanding of it. That's why truth is a string within you. It is not a brand. It is not a name. Do not accept a name. I will never give this a name, ever, because it's too big to have a name except Christ. So I want to continue this. Sorry, my glasses are a little difficult to get on today. There will be earthquakes in various places. There will be famines. These are but the beginning of birth pangs. Be on your guard, for they will deliver you over to councils, and you will be beaten in synagogues, and you will stand before governors and kings for my sake, to bear witness before them. So you're going to be beaten by the people that call themselves religious, the religious leaders, or people within the church that think they know what they're talking about. So as I've said many, many times, expect that. And brother will deliver a brother over to death, and the father his child, and children will rise against parents and have them put to death. And you will be hated by all for my name's sake, but the one who endures to the end will be saved. Now let me make this abundantly clear, that you will be hated by all for my name's sake. If you're a Christian in a church right now and no one hates you as a result of it, then that should give you all the pause you need. If you're not being persecuted for what you believe literally on a daily basis and told that you're slime and scum and you're not actually hated, then you're calling him a liar. It isn't that times have changed. He doesn't say sometimes it'll be that way. It might be that way. No, he says it will be that way. Why are you hypocrites and call him a liar? He is not lying. So these are the types of things when I say that you must stand on the truth. Once you have it, stand on it. Revert back to that. Stand on that when it's all wonderful and it's all peachy keen and no one's persecuting you. You should be very concerned. This is precisely why I say when I'm attacked, all they're doing is fulfilling his word, which makes me happy. So I thank you for attacking me, because all you're doing is proving my point. And you should thank those that attack you. It says to love those who hurt you. Because again, the reason why they're attacking you is because the enemy sees that you're being depleted of the energy that he needs, and he's not going to be able to feed on you. Hear that again. The reason why you get attacked is because the enemy now sees you on his radar. You're like a pulse when you go and you see an EKG, you're a big heartbeat of energy that he's like, yum, I get to consume that. The second that you go flatline on him, and you're now filled with love and all that energy, you're literally a worthless battery. And he needs to charge you up. And how does he do that? He sends things against you to rise up anger and fear and anxiety, consternation, all of these things. Leave them, all of them. And anything that causes that, leave it. All of it, or you will be consumed. You cannot save anyone unless you can save yourself. That's why he says, if you're not willing to leave everything, then you're not worthy of me. You will never, ever have Christ unless you have fled from all of these things. When one asks me, how can I have Christ like you have? Leave it all. Daily. Somebody says something that angers you, literally drop the anger, walk away from it, and make it never a thought again. Ever. Forgive them, love them. That's why it says, if somebody slaps you on one cheek, give them the other. If that's what makes them feel better, then show them that. Show them that you're in Christ by doing that. Look, you will never change my heart. You will never change, because I know that I cannot provide that energy to the enemy. I can't. And I cannot express to you that in the coming times how critical this is going to be and how much you're going to understand this. Now, going back to what I said, that the amazement of Christ is that he knew, this time traveler of absolute genius, knew that you would be reading this because it's in his own words. And he's talking to people in a crowd. And so he says, but when you see, he's talking about the end times, but when you see the abomination of desolation standing where he ought not to be, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. He actually says, let the reader understand. Now, if I was talking to you right now, if I was speaking to you right now, and Dana Ashley's calling. If I was speaking to you right now, I love Dana. She's just the sweetest person. She's so filled with the Spirit. I just love her. So go to her channel and subscribe. She's got a lot of great wisdom for you. I'm trying to help you keep this lighthearted as well, because I don't want to cause you fear, which also is an energy. But at the same time, sometimes you have to be able to shatter the glass before you know that it's broken. And as I heard Steve Olson from WSO say today, is that you cannot share the good news with anybody until you've shared the bad news, because no one will know just how good of news it is until you know just how bad it is. And right now, most of you do not have any concept of just how bad it is. Because what we have right now on multiple planes, there are multiple universes. This is very deep into quantum physics. But the war and the things that are to come to pass here have already begun. And as these begin to merge, they will instantaneously become visible to you. So as I share these things and share to you about these energies that you maintain, you need to flee from them as though that they are literally, if someone put a big target on you and made you a radar detector to be eaten, the last thing you would want to do is keep that target on you. So flee from all your anger, all your despair, all of it. I cannot express to you how important it is to do this. Now, I'm going to be working with Naughty and Steve Olson from WSO. We're going to be working together and talking here fairly soon, because the Father is gathering those that He's asked to provide these things, and it's time that we get together on a more coordinated and solid footing, that we all are coordinating what it is that we're seeing and having these conversations, because the delays are not going to be helpful anymore. We need to communicate on a far more efficient basis. So I'm going to be working for that, and hopefully that I can be a conduit that others as well, not just those two, but others that are appointed, that have an appointment and that have a given task, that we can bring these things together. So I would encourage you to pay attention to Steve, to Naughty. I just love Naughty. I've been communicating with him back and forth. I love you, Naughty. Please don't judge Naughty. Don't judge Steve. Everybody, we've all got our little quirks. Please don't judge me. I won't judge you ever. ever, but there is so much going on that I really feel that the Father is bringing us together in a very profound way. And Steve is a genuinely wonderful soul, and I really look forward to working with all of them. Please pay attention to what they're talking about right now. I believe that Steve's posted some recent videos that is just going to help you grasp some of the things that are a little bit harder to swallow. Be nice to him. Be kind. He's taken a beating for doing the things that he's doing, as we all do. I love you very much. We have the gathering this weekend. I'm going to hopefully have a podcast with Steve and myself and possibly Nadi. I don't know, Nadi, you going to do this podcast with me? And we'll be able to bring this to you. Please don't see my lightheartedness as being unserious. I'm just trying to keep it lighthearted for you, and I truly hope that you receive my messages and the things that I'm asked to bring for you with a kind and loving heart. Love your neighbor, love your brother, love your neighbor as you love yourself. The single greatest commandment, because once you do, you're going to realize that most of the fear and anger and all of these things that you have will flee from you. I ask that the Father bless you today. I love you very much. I'll see you soon.